The Jedi Civil War, also known as the Second Sith War, the Old Republic Insurrection, or as by the Mandalorians called it, the War of the Starforge, was a devastating conflict that began when Jedi Knight Revan, now called Darth Revan, led forces that had led the victory of the Galactic Republic's victory against the Mandalorians in the Mandalorian Wars, founded his own Sith Empire and declared himself Dark Lord of the Sith. He and his apprentice Malak, Darth Malak now, declared an invasion and a war against the Galactic Republic. It lasted from about 3,958 BBY to 3,956 BBY. And yeah, it was a devastating conflict. Like, you have these two prominent Jedi's turned to the dark side by the Emperor of the Unknown Regions of the true Sith Empire, and they're leading this attack against the Republic, and they have sent their first representatives, pretty much, and then they kind of went a little, we can do better, pretty much, mentality. So they declared themselves the Sith Dark Lords of the Sith, and they did some heavy damage to the Republic. During the war, had Malak not betrayed Reverend, things probably would have ended in the Sith winning the war. Yeah, a trap set by the Jedi and unwittingly abated by Malak left him in a comatose state. With his mind nearly destroyed and barely alive, he was taken by Bastila and to the Jedi Enclave on Dantooine, and the Jedi Council put in this controversial practice where they pretty much reprogrammed his mind to think he was always a agent loyal to the Republic, and yeah, and I was thinking, when could you do that? Because there's a lot of times you could have done that. So I'm curious to know. And this war was pretty devastating for a lot of reasons. Like, you had so many former Jedis now turning. Jedis on the Galactic Republic were now leaving for greener pastures, saying, hey, I'm going to join the running team. And then you have the prominent Jedi Knights falling to the dark side, and by the end of it, it was a tactical Republican Jedi Pyrrhic victory, but apparently it was also a psychological Sith victory. Like, the Sith Empire hiding in the Unknown Regions pretty much had won the war by crippling the Republic by taking away pretty much a lot of prominent knights and damaging the Order for a couple of hundred years. And at the end of the war, there was like about at least 100 Jedi left. And we all know what happened next after the war. It began with them heading into the Unknown Regions to take out the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders, what's left of them after the death of Mandalore the Ultimate. However, unknown to them, they had encountered the Sith Empire, led by the immortal Sith Lord. I don't think he was ever given a name. He was just called Sith Emperor, or the True Emperor. And they encountered him at Drummond Koss. However, it's never really explained how this happened, but they eventually fell to the dark side when they encountered him, and they went back into the Republic space, known galaxy space, and were looking for a device called the Star Forge by the Rakata Empire, also known as the Infinite Empire, which I will cover in another video. But with this in mind, they had started having visions of their own empire, like okay, we will do this, but we're gonna kind of do this our own way now, and just stab our allies in the back, who pretty much spared us from being wiped out by this resurrected empire, where the Sith Emperor wanted to pretty much establish his presence known to the galaxy, like he wanted to accelerate his plans. However, Reverend and Malak had their own thoughts and planned it to do their own style of the war, so they used the Star Forge for their own gain to take out the Jedi. And, well, we all know what happens in Knights of the Old Republic 1. The most prominent figures in the war were obviously Reverend, Malak, Admiral Shaw, Bastila Shan, Carthonasi, Vandor, also known as Yoda 2, as I like to refer to him as when I first saw him. Like I was thinking, like initially I had thought that was Yoda. Like I thought, oh my god, is Yoda this old? But then I found out, oh no, no, it's not Yoda. It just looks like someone that looks like Yoda. And like this war was, as I said, pretty devastating, and it didn't really explain where did Darth Nullius come from. Like we never really saw him at the Jedi Academy on Korriban, so I don't know where he came from out of nowhere. So we have this aura of mystery, trying to wonder where did he come from. He couldn't have just been in the war because he would have most likely been killed. And the reason why it was called the Jedi Civil War instead of the Jedi Sith War, as obviously, was because, well, when you think about it, they weren't really Sith. They were puppets of the Sith. And to be honest, all these are former Jedi who went to the other galaxy, went to the unknown regions, and were captured and then indoctrinated into the Sith ways, and pretty much they kind of established their own empire, thinking that we were in the right, we're just different philosophies, because they went to the Mandalorian Wars because they had compassion, and the Jedi were questioning their own motives. Like, should we really not get involved in the war? Too late to think about that. You lost your reputation. But the war was pretty devastating, like destruction of Telos 4, or was it Telos 5? I kind of forgot about that. Yeah, it was Telos 4, led by Admiral Saul, and Carthonasi lost his wife. His kid, his son, survived and went on to join the Sith Empire unknowingly to Carth, to his dad. So that happened, and later on, during Knights of the Old Republic 1, you would do this adventure with Reverend unknowingly at the time, since I thought this is a shocking plot twist when I was young, because that was like my second Star Wars game I played, and I was really young at the time, and I thought that was a genuine plot twist. Like, I never would have not figured that out. Uh, but the Star Forge that the Sith Empire used was to basically build this huge fleet. It was a limitless resource. It's basically a blank check. Basically, say, where when I saw, I initially was thinking, it's basically just do whatever the hell the writer wants it to do. Meant ex machina. So, like, there's that. Like, that's how I saw the Star Forge. Like, basically just do whatever the hell the writer wants you to do. It's the only logical reasoning for being here. Because when I think about it, I'm thinking, how did the Rakata Empire fall if they had this pretty powerful device? Like, there has to be a reason. Like, did the device kill them? It's never really explained. Like I said, I'll get to that in a future video later. But the Enclave on Dantooine was when Reverend Carthonasi, Canaris, Bastila, Mission Vale, the Wookiee, I kind of Zeb, as I think it was. I can't pronounce the name. I kind of forgot about it. It's been so long since I last played that game and read the story, but I do recall a lot of the characters' names. When they were off in this mission, the Jedi Council was attacked on Dantooine, and a lot of them were killed, obviously. But then the Ebon Hawk, as the ship was known as, was captured. So, like I was saying, the Ebon Hawk, as it would later be known as, was captured by the Leviathan, as it was called, and that's where we get the big plot twist. You were playing as Reverend the whole time, and I thought, yeah, that is a genuine plot twist. And Bastila Shan was captured, so reluctantly they had to continue on after they had escaped. But Bastila was captured and would later convert to the dark side by Malik as his apprentice. And Malik, as it was shown in the comics during this time, during the Mandalorian Wars, was I think it was suggested Reverend cut off his face was responsible for that. I think I haven't really looked up the game in so many years. I just remember bits and pieces. So I keep thinking, wait, did Reverend do that? Because that's kind of sick. Like, yeah, that's a Sith attitude right there. But overall, this war was the most devastating in the Jedi history at that point, and it led to the first ever Jedi purge, and like, and Darth Nullius, the Sith Triumvirate, and well, the war ended at the Battle of Rakata Prime, also known as Leon 4, I think, or just Leon, where Darth Revan would be redeem himself from his actions and defeat the Republic, defeat the Empire. Like there's an alternative ending where the Empire wins, but that's not canon. That wasn't the expanded universe canon lore. Um, like yeah, they pretty much won the war. The Republic won with a huge devastating cost. Like they lost a lot of Jedi, like really a lot. Meanwhile, on the Sith side of casualties, the Sith had lost Malik, they had lost Reverend, they had lost the Starforge. So what was left? They fought amongst themselves. The Sith, without a single leader or united front to take over, pretty much fell apart and destroyed each other, with only several known survivors: Darth Nullius, Darth Traiana, and Darth Sion, and an unidentified Sith Lord that would later carry on the legacy of the Sith of his time. And, you know, they never really explored that. That would have been interesting. I think they would have explored that had Knights of the Old Republic 3 been made. Like, maybe that would have explained some things. But ultimately, we would never know what happened to that Sith Lord who would train on his apprentice. So there's that. But the war ultimately was very well known in the galaxy. It was the Sith Empire had pretty much crippled the Republic and the Jedi, setting everything a little bit back. And as everyone would later know, it would cause the first ever Jedi purge. And it would start the Dark Wars. The Sith Civil War happened. So this went on for even after the war ended in 3,956. The war kind of continued on for another few years during the Sith purging of the Jedi, which I'll get to in another video. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more.